This podcast is meant for general health information and is not meant to override any medical advice. All questions will be screened and not contain any personal information. If you want a private consultation, contact us via positivechoice.org, or you can contact your provider directly. Thank you and enjoy the episode.
Hello and welcome to the Positive Choice Wellness Podcast. My name is Melanie and I'm an exercise physiologist.
And my name is Kimberly and I'm a registered dietitian.
Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Melanie. How's it going?
It's going fantastic. I'm so excited to see you, mostly because a lot of our viewers don't know. We've pre-recorded like a good chunk of our previous episodes because you were having a bebe, so you are not here.
I know. So it's so good to see your face and to be back. Honestly, we did good. We powered out a lot of podcasts.
Oh yeah, that was fun. But then the most recent one I posted, I think I talked about like it's weather in June. I was like, oh, okay, got to get Kimberly back. So you're back, yay!
I'm back. Woohoo! Absolutely, thank you.
A testament is currently rainy, so we can get an idea of where we're at.
Indeed, that's so fun. Well, it hardly ever rains here, right? So
that's a fair point.
Loving it.
I know. I'm loving it too.
Right.
So I don't know if that brings you joy, but what brings you joy today, Kimberly?
That does, though, honestly. The rain does bring me joy, probably because we just have I swear we have 5 rainy days a year, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say, me and my little fam of 4, I have 2 little boys and my husband, and we moved. So that's bringing me joy because we have my oldest son now has his own room, which is cool.
So fun.
We have more than one bathroom, which
exciting.
is changing. So we feel like we've graduated. We feel we feel good. We got space. So
yes,
anyway, that's me. What about you? What's bringing you joy?
Well, I recently purchased a very fancy cookbook. And so for a nice little Valentine's Day dinner with myself and my husband, I pulled a couple of recipes out of said fancy cookbook, which required us to go to Specialty Produce over near Little Italy. So
Wait, that's so fun. Okay, I'm not even going to lie. I saw these pictures on Instagram.
I know you did.
And they looked like a flipping delight.
You're great.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I'm not even kidding. I was going to show my husband when he got home.
You should. They're amazing.
They looked so good.
Yeah, I was exploring with fancy cuisine to see if I could do it. And you know what is those dishes did look great. They were complicated and it was really hard, but I did great.
They looked complex.
You did
really good.
But it was worth it for the flavor. So I was really happy about that. And it was fun just going to Specialty Produce again. And I know I'm allowed to talk about them because we actually interviewed them on a Facebook Live a few years ago. They brought in Hidden Rose apples and had us sample it, which was really cool.
That's so fun.
But yeah, they're literally a grocery store, and I shamelessly plug them because they're awesome. They are a grocery store that really primarily caters to chefs and people in the culinary world, but anyone can go to this place, bring a jacket. It's very cold. And they have fruits that you've never seen before, vegetables you've never seen before, and you can just get some amazing stuff. Not everything is cheap, but it is phenomenal as far as variety. And
awesome.
So I bought morel mushrooms. I was like, ooh, and they are exactly as hyped as they should be. They're delicious. And we got this, what is it? It was a radicchio with, it looked like spray paint purple all over it. It was like a spotted radicchio that was really pretty.
Wow.
And we got purple sweet potatoes and all sorts of yummy veggies to have on the side. Heirloom tomatoes. It was nice to get all this fresh food and
sounds
eat it.
So fun. Okay, I'm gonna have to go. Yeah, the whole that's so fun because you're getting some different stuff, but it is all fresh. Oh, how cool! That's so cool.
So it just made me feel fancy. So I was like, okay,
yes,
I'll do it.
Fancy dinner. Oh, I love it. How fun.
I know. I'm so excited about it that I have to make more recipes when I've had a break. I need some time off.
Little breathing room, and then when you're ready.
Exactly. But that is not relevant to our topic today. We're actually not talking about food as much as I'd love to. We're actually going to talk about exercise.
Woot woot.
So excited. Mostly for what we know already. We know exercise is good for us and exercise should be done. We know that we are meant to be mobile and we are mobile creatures. But one of the things that I think is relevant right now is what actually counts as exercise.
I love that. Absolutely. I think it's super relevant because I think sometimes there's almost like a weird line where we can give ourselves too much credit for something, but also not any credit for other
Yeah.
things, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I can say this from my own perspective, and anyone who works in the health and wellness field, especially if you're a fitness professional, it does get a little tricky because we tend to hold ourselves to really stinking high standards as far as exercise is concerned. So what normal average person would consider a reasonable amount of activity for me is like the bare minimum because of
Right.
just this aspiration to be the best I can be, knowing what I know. And
For
it gets
sure.
tough because like even myself, I'll find myself like downplaying things that I do. I don't consider them active enough or whatever, even though in the grand scheme of things, it is.
Yes. Yeah. That's such a beautiful way to describe it. Very true.
Yeah. So I figured we could dive into what things count as exercise, what is exercise, really, the definition of it, and kind of all the elements of it, the nuances of it.
I love it. I love it. I think this is big and good for us to clear the air on some stuff, perhaps.
Yes. And also, I am talking with a fellow swimmer, so I know we are biased, which is we know what the best exercise is on the planet, but
straight up,
but we're extremely biased, and that is a very biased opinion. It is actually not a fact. So let's talk about stuff. And first off, what I want to talk about actually is something called NEAT.
Neat. I love it.
So the reason why I say NEAT, it's an acronym. Acronyms are when they make a word out of the initials of whatever you're spelling out. So it stands for something. It stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And the reason why
it's an acronym.
Great. we love acronyms and exercise physiology and kinesiology. It's like our jam. We love acronyms.
That's great.
So we do. Like, seriously, you get into fitness, it's like fit and then first and neat and DOMS. Like, we got it all, man. EPOC, let's go. So, like, we got it all. But with NEAT, it sounds complicated, but it's actually not. So it's essentially what we would call movement. That's it. That's what it is. Just stuff.
Simply moving your body stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. It has this really complex name, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, but the reality is just move, right?
Okay.
It's going from your front door to your mailbox. It's going out in the yard and cleaning up your garden. It's walking your dog as they sniff everything in their path. You know, anything little, like walking from your car to the grocery store. Literally anything you do that is movement is NEAT. Ha!
But dude, that's great. Okay, that's actually kind of cool because this is making me think of when I mentioned what brought me joy is that I moved and I now live in a 2-story house for the first time in my life. And I was so exciting. And oh my Lanta, all the things I forget upstairs, it's astonishing. By the end of my first week living here, I was like, my quads better be nice and toned because of how much I have to walk up these stairs. So that would fall into the NEAT category, right? Like walking up my stairs.
Absolutely. Welcome to the 2-story club. I too learned that lesson very early on, especially doing laundry. When you're like, oh, good, I dropped a sock at the bottom of the stairs. Let me go down and get that. Yeah. Honestly, though, anything that gets you moving, even if it's a 2-story house, counts. And that's the thing I think people don't give credit to is the little things that we do, you know?
Yeah, just the like living your life kind of stuff. I think you're totally right. I think, we don't give credit or don't think it counts.
Exactly. Because the reality is any amount of movement, I mean, not that we're like relying heavily on calories, but when we talk about thermogenesis, that's burning of calories. That is quite literally the term we're using there. So when you move, you're still burning calories. It's still happening. And I think it's this reality where we expect to be like, oh, we should be sweating and our heart rates need to be up and we be like huffing and puffing. It's like, no, you can just be casually strolling with your dog. Now, I will say there are elements of working a little harder that do provide a little bit more health benefits, I will say, but don't negate non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Like that right there, just moving still counts. It still burns calories. It adds to your total burn for the day. It does support your metabolism. Like it does count. And we can't just say, it's not, why bother if it's not going to be a full workout, you know?
Yeah. I love that. I love that it still counts because it's better than laying on your couch all day. Right. So
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, like it doesn't have to be those little things I mentioned. Like it can quite literally be anything. Cause one of the things that, you know, we can look at instead of that is like, okay, if you're gardening, like that can actually be pretty strenuous. So like non-exercise doesn't
Yes.
necessarily mean you're not working hard. So there's certain things that actually be way more strenuous for your body. Like cleaning your house can be pretty strenuous, even if it's not like jumping up and down doing jumping jacks or burpees or something.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah. You can still
Mhm.
definitely get a little bit of what feels like a workout in just by,
Mhm.
it looks like you say, cleaning your house. Shoot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So for those of you who, you know, aren't giving yourselves the credit, like I always tell people, I don't mind walking. So if you have the physical capability of doing that, you don't have those limitations, park
Mhm.
farther away, take those opportunities for movement, you know? Like for example, we we at Garfield work on the 6th floor. And that is a delight. And so that turns into a workout for a lot of us because
Oh,
going
Lord,
from
yeah.
floor 1 to 6, quite a bit of work.
I usually got to take a
And
pause around 3 or 4.
I know. And what sucks is the motivational quotes on the walls disappear after the 4th
They
floor.
end after the 4th floor. Yeah, it's true.
It's like, oh man, this sucks.
Rats. Now you're just going up on your own. Yeah.
So like it's so funny because I was actually walking up there with Frankie the other day. We saw each other in the hall and ended up going up the stairs together. And I had just gotten back from being sick for 2 weeks. So like I was so deconditioned. And so I was just like, okay, we're good. Just like huffing and puffing, trying so hard to be cool, not winded, going up 6 flights of stairs without stopping. Oh man,
gosh.
accomplishments, you know?
Good for you. Straight up.
But it counts.
It
counts.
does.
Despite
It
how
counts.
brief it may feel, it still counts. So
I love
that goes for everyone.
I love that. I usually say in class too, like when people are trying to expand, like moving their bodies more, is like, I almost look at it as making your life a little less convenient, you know, to your point of like parking farther away. Or I had a patient one time tell me he was limited in terms of like how much he could get out of his house. So what he did was he walked one article of clothing from the dryer to his bedroom. You know, stuff like that, trying to, again,
That's clever.
less convenient. I know. I thought that was so creative, honestly.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I mean, anything counts, really, if that's what you want to do. But some people say it's put your remote by your TV.
Oh,
just get
there
up,
you go.
walk over to your TV like the olden days, like there's buttons, but you have to use a remote from over by the TV. And that's an option, right? That's the way to do it.
That's actually smart. I like that. I've also heard move your, like, this was for someone who worked in an office. They moved their trash can out of the office. So anytime they wanted to throw something away, they had to go find one.
I used to do this to annoy my coworkers, mostly because when I work in an office, I tend to be very distracting for everyone, including myself. So I would send an email, but then I would get up and go talk to the person that I sent an email to, even though they already got what they needed, just because it gave me a reason to get up and move over there and move.
Yes.
And
oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I'm not recommending this. It's very lack of productivity there. So I would not say this is the best way to get work done, but hey, get you moving.
Yeah, get up. Absolutely.
Now, as far as other things though, so like obviously just general movement counts and we don't want to ever negate that. So, you know, every step counts, everything's working towards you. But like I said earlier, you do get a little bit more bang for your buck if you challenge yourself a little bit. So that could include working on your cardio a little bit or working on your resistance training or whatever it is you're trying to do. So kind of leaning into the cardio first, because I think that's the next best step after we talk about just movement. Cardio is movement, but you're working, right? So that's the differentiation.
Feels more like I don't want to say maybe more intentional or maybe more like with more effort, perhaps. I don't know.
I would say 9 times out of 10, yeah, it's probably intentional. Not always. I mean, if you're,
well, that's true.
If you're running because you left something in the car and you sprint to your car, I mean, I would argue that's intentional. But otherwise, yeah, cardio, most of the time, it's intentional. You're intending to get your heart rate up. And it's about heart rate. And I like to mention this because whenever I ask people, like, how do you determine like intensity with cardio? Some people are like, oh, how much you sweat? And I have to say it because I am a sweaty person. I am very open about this. I am not ashamed. I'm a good thermoregulator, as they would say. And I'm very good at it. But the problem is you can't use sweating as a determination of intensity because sweating is just your body's ability to cool itself down. And some people have more of an ability to do that than others. So it's kind of a hard place to say is the way we track it because there was a physician assistant we used to have here, and I would beat her up for 30 minutes with a personal training appointment. She would just be glassy at the end.
Yes.
Barely. And I would be
that.
sweating more than her just sitting there. So
yes. Okay, that's good news though. So sweating doesn't necessarily show the amount of effort that you are putting into something. Okay.
Yeah, because there's a lot of factors, right? There's genetic factors, so your family history, how sweaty are your family members. I know it's a lovely conversation. It's also genetics and where, like, how we were raised, and when we are growing up in a certain environment that actually can influence your sweat production and how much you sweat. And I happen to be born and raised in a kind of a hot place like Fresno, so I end up having that plus genetics. I got both.
That's
Yay.
so interesting. Okay, wow. That's fascinating.
Everyone is physically capable of sweating. It's just some people are more apparent about it. And if you get anxious, you can break into a sweat. Doesn't mean you're working out.
That's very true. It can be tied to your emotions even. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hot day. You're outside sitting and you start sweating. Yeah, there you go. Like anything can cause sweating, really. And so that's why it's a hard way to gauge our intensity. So I'd rather us look at heart rate. And if you don't have the ability to monitor heart rate, like if you have a pacemaker, if you're on certain medications, the alternative is to look at your breathing rate. So you should be breathing harder. So if it's not heart rate, it's breathing. It's one of the two.
Okay, that's super interesting. And do you encourage people, because I've heard of the like the talk test or the sing test, right? Like, do you encourage people to use that who aren't necessarily tracking their heart rate, like as a way to gauge how intense they're working? Okay.
Yeah, sing talk test, where basically the way this works is it's I call it the easiest way to track intensity. So you start off with, as you're working out, you are if you're able to sing along with your music, if you're listening to music, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not working hard enough. You should not be able to sing along with your music unless you're like gasping for air and just trying to breathe. Because when you're doing cardio, you're going to be a little breathless. So it's going to be hard to sing. So that's why typically singing is a good gauge of like, if I can sing along with my music, I probably need to ramp up the intensity a little bit. Now, the talk test is really, you can have a conversation, but you can't sing. Right?
Yes.
So like the sing test, you can do both. If you do the talk test, you can have a conversation, maybe a little breathless, but you definitely can't sing along with your music. And that's what we considered moderate intensity. If you can't do either of those things, like talking is out of the question because you're breathing too hard, then you're at high intensity. So it's kind of a 3-stage gauge.
Nice. Okay. I like that. It seems effective. So you can just try, well, if you can sing, right? Try singing, and then you're like, well, maybe I should ramp it up a little bit, but try talking too. Okay.
Exactly. And
I like it.
We can use that as a good base one. There's another one we like to use in kinesiology. This one's initialism. It's RPE scale. Initialism this time. Ooh, not acronyms. But it stands for rating of perceived exertion. The reason why I mentioned that is there's a lot of lore on this, but back in the 80s, before I was born. But back in the 80s, they did a lot of research, obviously, on cyclists to determine a lot of things we know now in kinesiology and exercise physiology. And one of the things they did is something called a rating of perceived exertion scale, but it was on a scale of 6 to 22.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're like, what? So add a 0 to the back of those numbers. 60 to 220. Heart rate.
Oh, yeah.
But what? So it's still kind of hard to like math that out. I'm like, on a scale of 6 to 22, I feel like a 14. Like, how do we? That's weird. So it's kind of a weird scale. So we've kind of modernized it a little bit and made it make much more sense and made it a scale of 1 to 10 rather than 6 to 22, because it's not so much representative of heart rate as we'd like it to be. It's more like, how hard are you working on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yes.
And what they found with a lot of the research they did is what they would do is they put these cyclists on bikes and they'd max them out. And so during the process, they periodically asked them questions. Now, these cyclists could not see their own heart rate. They did not have that information in front of them. So they said, hey, on a scale of, let's just say 1 to 10, because it's an easier one for conversation right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? And they would tell them a number, and then the researcher would write it down and the heart rate that they would be at that time. And what they noticed, it was super stinking accurate.
No way.
Yeah. In fact, it's likely more accurate than any other way of determining your intensity.
That is the most interesting thing. So it's like intuitively kind of like,
Yeah. We know how we feel. That's the thing.
Mhm.
You know how you feel. So what you feel is how you feel.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. That's a
So-
cool study.
Yeah, a scale of 1 to 10. So if you're aiming for like moderate intensity cardio, which is what we encourage, that'd be like a 4 to a 6 on that scale.
A 4 to a 6. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then how important is it to get above that for like the average person just wanting to like be healthy, exercise, maybe lose weight?
Well, I guess it depends on if you're approved by your doctor and don't have any underlying heart conditions. Because
Fair.
if you have a heart problem, I would not recommend blowing through that number going, let's go to a 10, because that's not going to feel great and you might have a heart problem and that's not good. So if you don't have any underlying heart conditions, then it's perfectly safe. You can always talk with your doctor if you're worried. But there is a benefit to going above and beyond a 6. But once you hit a 7, 8, 9, 10, that becomes high intensity and that lasts a max of 1 minute. So you can't sustain it for very long.
Okay.
So
Definitely.
moderate intensity, we cruise at for a while and it has a pretty big range. Whereas high intensity feels like a big range, but you can go from a 7 to a 10 in the matter of a minute.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild. Interesting.
Yeah. So I personally think it's fantastic if you want to play around with intensity and dive above it, but just know anywhere below 1 minute is considered a reasonable amount once you're above a 6. And then at that point, it's up to you if you want to do it. Some people do 30 seconds. Some people do 20 seconds, 15 seconds. Like, doesn't matter. Playing with your heart rate's fantastic for a few reasons. The first one, of course, is one of the fastest ways to get in shape doing that. It's called interval training, if you did not know.
Some good interval training.
Playing around with speed or intensity, going high heart rate, back down, high heart rate, back down, over and over and over again.
Right.
That's a fantastic way to get in shape. And the other one too is it does help with belly fat reduction because it puts a lot of stress and demand on the body for nutrients, and so it has to use your fat sources as fuel.
Epic. Okay. Sounds like almost a little more bang for your buck there. Okay.
I think so, but it's hard. So,
well, that's true.
There is a trade-off.
Yes.
Like I said, it's great and it's very short, but it also can be challenging, and it's not for everybody. Not everyone loves it, so like you don't have to do this. But
yeah, totally.
You basically linger around there for up to a minute max. Most people, I would say, 30 seconds is definitely fine. A minute's like you're in really good shape if you could do it longer than 30 seconds. Like that is.
Yeah, I was thinking of some moves. I'm like, woof, I don't know. A whole minute would feel like a long minute.
It's like if you just decide to stand in place and jump over and over and over again with your knees as high as you can get them.
Yes.
Could you do that for a minute? Probably not.
Oh my. Yeah. No.
But
not
if you
over
can,
here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So however you want to do intensity is a great way to play with that. But it's definitely beneficial. And that's a really great form of exercise that we would encourage. But to that point, something I wanted to mention why we're talking about cardio is cardio doesn't have to be structured. It does not have to be at a gym. It does not have to be running or walking. Like cardio is just anything that gets your heart rate up, that gets you moving in some way, shape, or form. And something that, is interesting to mention is something we call ergogenic aids. I don't know if you've heard that term before, Kimberly.
I honestly have not.
So basically, a lot of the time, like it can be a variety of things. It's kind of a broad thing. So it could be a substance, right?
Oh, okay.
Like we're talking creatine, amino acids, caffeine, that kind of stuff. It could be a device. So sometimes that can be a motivator, right? So it could be, I don't know, smartwatch or something like that.
Oh, yes. Right. Totally.
Special gear or equipment that gets you into a better headspace. Like maybe if you want to do hypoxic training, get a hypoxic mask. You're like, yeah, I feel cool. Whatever. Yeah. They look kind of like Bane from Batman. So it's a little like, but whatever. Yes. And then the other thing it can be is like practices or different things or training techniques, or like one thing I use is music.
Ooh.
This is what I'm really going to lean into, because the other stuff, whatever. Yeah. Pick whatever you want.
Fluffy
music.
Stuff,
yeah. I am musically inclined. I used to be in marching band. I think it's fantastic. I love music.
That's cool.
Did you not know that?
I never did. No.
Oh, I have bass 4, man. I was on drumline.
Nice.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I was a cool band kid.
You're like, what have you not done? That's like for real. Okay, anyway.
I don't Oh, that's a great question.
See? Exactly.
So I'm very musically inclined. I love rhythm, obviously, duh.
Yeah.
I love music. And so interestingly enough, in kinesiology and exercise physiology, when doing studies, unless it's involving music, we actually aren't allowed to play music for our participants at all.
No
Like,
way.
It's a no-go because it could
Okay.
influence their performance.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Mhm.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I say it's the most powerful ergogenic aid out there, because everyone should have access to music. I think at the end of the day, we all have some way to do it. You can hum in your own head. Like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But what's great about music is think about your favorite song, like any song, doesn't matter. You don't have to tell me what it is, obviously, but like whatever your favorite song is that just makes you go like, yeah, I like this. And kind of like bob your head involuntarily. Like you're just like bobbing around to this music without even realizing, because you're just like, oh, because what was I listening to? I think I had like Gypsy Kings on in the car the other day, and I was just like, Volare, heck yeah. You know, I was just dancing to Volare in my car, and people were probably looking at me like I was weird.
That's amazing.
So, like, listening to music can be very influential. It can actually motivate you to work harder. The good example a good example I try to use is if you've ever had music on and like headphones, you go out walking and you're doing it to, with intention. You're out there walking on purpose and you're like, oh man, I dig this song. I think I'm going to jog. And then you start jogging.
Yes.
And you weren't planning to jog, but you just vibed with the music so hard. You're like, no, I just want to go. Like, this is good.
Yes.
And you feel motivated. You want to keep going.
Wow.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like finding those things that make you want to do this, right?
Okay. So it's called can you say it again? What is it called?
Ergogenic aid.
Ergogenic.
ERGOGENIC.
Okay. Ergogenic aid. So it's like
Or ergo.
It's something that, ooh, I like that. Ergo. It sounds like something that is like, I don't know, maybe almost external that does help like.
It is.
Take that step, get going.
Yeah, it's something that you're taking in some way that motivates you or influences your behaviors.
I love that because I am a big activity tracker fan. That sucker helps me because I see how little I have moved.
That's where I was going to go with that. That's exactly where I was going to go with that. Yep.
But I'm going to have to remember that about the music, honestly. That's so smart because that's just like, you're making me think of all these things. Like in college when I was playing water polo, we made a warm-up track and everyone on the team got to pick their pump up song. And then we would play it during warm up for a game. And how when my song came on, I would be like, let's go, So totally.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Music is powerful. It really is. I mean, again, I'm a musician. I love music. So like for me, I love it, but
so good.
If you don't like music, you're weird. So I'm kidding. Kind of. So
it does seem to be like a universal love though.
It's kind of universal. So I would hope there's no one out there who's like, oh, music sucks. I'm like, oh,
music,
okay.
boo. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine if you feel that way, but like, I think it's great. Maybe I'm biased.
Agreed.
Now, that's a big thing I kind of encourage is that, doing something that makes you feel good and you want to do it. But that's where that counts as exercise, like bobbing around to something that's catchy.
Yes. Such a good point. Such a good point.
Right.
Absolutely.
And like, it's not structured or traditional by any means. You can just be like, what I was doing was like shimmying in my car. I was like, oh, fun. I want to do salsa dancing. Like, I don't even salsa dance. It just sounded like a good idea, and it's made me want to move. And so finding that inspiration that way, or, fitness trackers are another great example too, though, because some people like they want to close the rings or whatever it is that you have on your fitness tracker.
Yes. Or some of them like throw a party when you've hit the goal or whatever. Yes. There's so like
those count. Those absolutely count. So
good.
Some people love trackers for that exact reason. It's motivating them, right? And so that's what I want us to lean into is stuff that makes you want to do it, makes you want to move, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that's cardio, right? And cardio does not have to be structured. It's just getting your heart rate up, whatever way you can do it. The last one really is resistance training, which I think is the tougher one to cover of like how we can make it count when it's not like a structured thing, right? Because at the end of the day, isn't strength training like super structured?
It seems like it, right? And it seems like it requires, like we talked about how like some cardio, you have to be almost like more intentional, right? It almost seems like strength training, you have to be even an extra step more intentional, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's the challenge. So strength training, by definition, is picking up or using something that's giving you resistance beyond what you're
Mhm.
physically capable of doing for a certain amount of repetitions. And that's how we get stronger. And so it is kind of intentional because it requires you to pick up or use something that is resisting you, whether it's
Right.
by weight or stretch of a band or whatever. That's the goal. And so strength training gets a little tough because of that fact, because now it's not like, oh, just play a song you dig. Because like dancing,
Yeah.
quite strength
Super
training.
unstructured. Yeah.
But if you pick up, like, let's say you're working in your garden. I have a few people who are like redoing their gardens right now, although I don't know about right now, it's raining, but but they're redoing their gardens. Like, oh, I'm picking up boulders and like lugging boulders across my
Oh,
yard and
geez.
like
Yeah.
digging these big old holes. And I'm like, that's strength training. Like
Yeah.
100% strength training right there. It's not the way we think of it traditionally, but it still
Right.
counts.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just doing things that involve picking up stuff or moving stuff or whatever it is that challenges you. And like I think of you with le bébé. So you have child and you pick up
Yes.
said child, and that is not a weight, is it not?
Right? Oh yeah. Feels
So,
like it.
and you have another one, you know, a little toddler running around too. So you have
Yes. Yeah.
two kids that you have varying weights for, but you can like picking up your kid counts.
That's awesome.
And they're only getting heavier.
That's true. We grow in
saying.
strength with them. Yeah.
Yes, you have to get stronger to lift up the bébé as they get bigger and bigger, right?
The bébé, yes.
I have to say
totally.
bébé in honor of Catherine O'Hara. So rest
so
in
good.
peace, Queen. But
Yeah.
it's what I think is really valuable here is just recognizing we don't need to have these structured, like perfect looking workout routines. It can just be the
Mhm.
things that we do that target what we're trying to target. So for strength training, building muscle can be just as long as it's heavier than what you normally do. That's what matters in whatever way that is, right? So
Yeah.
you know, like for example, we had a client who would like pick up these water jugs and was able to lift these heavy old 5-gallon water jugs and tip them into the water dispenser. And that is a way of getting strength training in, right?
Absolutely.
Or carrying the dang things from the water filler, you know, like that's another workout.
Yes. Oh,
Mhm.
that's so good. That's so true because gosh, I think a lot of times you almost think of strength training and you think, okay, gym membership, right?
Yep.
Like you think that's like the only place to go with it. So I love that. You're already talking about the yard or like moving big heavy things around your house. Just like
Mhm.
the average person probably does more than what they realize, what they give themselves credit for.
Yeah. And like something that Annalisa said before, and I love it, I use it all the time, is like, you know, for anyone who has a purse, weigh your purse.
Oh, Lordy. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a
Because
great idea.
what I think happens a lot of time is people will go like, "Oh, I'm not very strong. You know, I can't really do anything. Like I think I need like 2-pound dumbbells or whatever." And you're like, "Okay,
Mhm.
weigh your purse." Chances are, if you're like me, you have a Mary Poppins purse, and your Mary Poppins purse may have a brick in it. I don't know, but it's probably
Yes.
heavier than 2 pounds. I can assure you on that. So if you're capable of lugging around a purse all day, you're definitely capable of lifting more than 2-pound dumbbells. And so
Wow.
consider that stuff you do on a regular basis, right? Carrying groceries into your house counts. Upstairs counts if you live in a
Yes.
2-story apartment, right?
Right.
Anything that's involving you carrying something heavy.
Incredible. I love that. The purse is like, that's such a good point because that's something that I like literally wouldn't even think of. Or like my work backpack.
Yeah.
I'm going to give myself some credit for that.
Mhm. We should be giving ourselves credit for the things we do, even if it doesn't feel structured.
Yes. Right.
Because that's where I think we get into trouble is these
Mhm.
people that we work with will go like, "Oh, but I didn't do any strength training." Like, well, did you lift anything heavy at all this week? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I like lifted up my dog to put him in the car or, you know, whatever. It's like that
Mhm.
counts, right?
Yeah.
You have to be able to do
Absolutely.
that. I mean, I remember when I lived in Fresno, I lived on the 3rd floor of an apartment complex, and where I had to park my car was nowhere near an elevator, and I had a flat of water bottles from Costco. And so I put my forearms out in a 90-degree angle and held this flat on my forearms and walked up 3 flights of stairs carrying this stupid thing of water. And my biceps were so sore.
Yeah.
So sore. Like it took like 4 days for them to not be sore after that. Because apparently, well, first off, holding your arms at a 90-degree angle in front of you is actually the hardest part of a bicep curl. So I was doing the hardest possible move I could
Holding
have done.
the hardest part. Yeah.
So I was already working, and I didn't know this at the time. I know it now. Hindsight's 2020. But I worked out pretty stinking hard carrying that water up to my apartment.
I was going to say, even add the stairs. Wow. You got a full body workout up in there.
I was a trooper. Yeah. So I did my best.
Truly.
But that's the thing. As long as we recognize, like, we don't have to have structured exercise. It can be a part of our lifestyle. Like, think about little ways you can get activity that aren't necessarily going to the gym or aren't necessarily picking up dumbbells or, going for structured walks or whatever. Like, what do you do that's active?
Yes, I love that. And maybe shifting like your mindset to look at it more as like having an active day overall versus like, sometimes we think if we can't dedicate 30 minutes or an hour or whatever it is to movement time, we just don't want to do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I don't know, we can get ourselves in sticky scenarios that way, right? So like if you just have an active day, that totally counts towards all the benefits. I love
exactly.
That.
We want you to move. Just be active in some way. And
exactly.
Give yourself credit. That's the goal here. Give yourself credit for anything you do that might work towards you getting more activity in. And that's what counts. And like, it's a stepping stone because maybe that gives you the confidence to maybe want to do more. Who knows? Like, it's just good to give yourself credit where credit is due.
Yeah, absolutely. You deserve it. Super
exactly. True. Well, is there anything you want to add, Kimberly, before we wrap up?
Oh, goodness. I don't think so. I think you hit on everything. I feel like I learned a lot. This was really good. Yes. I liked all the acronyms and the non-acronyms and all those things.
Oh, we love our acronyms. Well, I added initialism in there. That was a little curveball.
That's what it was. Initialism. I couldn't remember the word.
I don't know. It's one of those like little nails on a chalkboard thing for me when you use it incorrectly. I'm like, no, acronyms are a word. Initialism is when you spell out the letters. There's a difference.
I literally even learned about English.
There we go. I taught English today. We are done. But all right. Well, okay. Well, it's as we know, it's about that time. So we are going to wrap it up. But thank you all for listening. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if you watch us on YouTube, make sure you give us a follow or you can comment below. We do work with people kind of all around the world, if you are in the correct time zone to be awake for working with us. And with that being said, until next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Looking to stay strong, steady, and active as you age? Join us at the Positive Choice Integrative Wellness Center for Senior Strength, a gentle yet effective group fitness class designed specifically for older adults or anyone with mobility limitations or just wants to get started. In just 1 hour, you'll move through light cardio, strength-building exercises, and modified yoga poses, all tailored to support your balance, flexibility, and confidence. This in-person group class is welcoming, supportive, and led by experienced instructors who understand your needs. Visit positivechoice.org/group fitness to learn more and sign up today.